What is going on, everybody? In this video, I'm going to take a look at the Mazda Rx-8 Gold Edition that was in the recent Summit, and this car was also out a really long time ago in a Summit as well, so I was kind of happy to see this thing come back, and the boat is getting in my way again. Nonetheless, I have to admit one thing, this is probably one of my favorite Summit cars they've ever added. Just the overall look of this thing with the gold and the black look amazing, and look at that turbo on the hood as well, completely in gold. It just looks really good. Check out the headlights here as well, and I'll open up the car in a second. Now, I'm going to admit one thing, I'm sure many people are wondering about the interior, so I noticed with the interior, it has like the gold lining in there, which actually fits the car very nicely. Now, I would say they did a perfect job on the interior, mainly because it's not overdone. There's not too much gold or like all kinds of different colors in here. The Thunderwave Edition is basically completely yellow inside, which I'm sure many people are very mixed on, but starting the engine up right now. This thing does sound very cool. It's literally one of my favorite cars they've added into this game. It's just such a cool looking vehicle. Sounds very cool as well. Let's get out of the vehicle now. Now, one thing I have to admit, though, I'm going to also do a top speed run with it and drive it around a little bit and talk about it. Then I'll take it into a race. But I'm going to be honest here, this car is not going to be top tier, like compared to, like, let's say the Superleggera. But we can all agree when it comes to looks, this car is absolutely beautiful. And I really do love the overall design that they have done to it. And I'd have to admit that even though this car may not be the great with performance, it still would be a blast to use in races like grinding out parts or grinding out money, and or using it in the stores would be a wonderful time because it is still very fun to drive. Anyway, let's go jump outside and take a look at this vehicle right now. So now arriving outside here with the Mazda Rx-8 Gold Edition, let's take a listen. This thing sounds absolutely amazing. Without any further ado, let's go drive it though, because I want to see how this car actually does. Now, initially when I first got it a long time ago in the Summit, I was actually really excited to drive this thing, and to my surprise, it's still really good, to be honest. I mean, even driving it then, I used to pretty much drive this car over every other Summit vehicle that came out at the time, and I definitely do not regret that because it's still one of my favorite vehicles to drive around. I use it all the time, just cruising around and or using street races to grind parts or like grind money, and or doing the stories with this thing as well was a very fun time because the car's just really fun to drive around in. I know sometimes the performance of some of these vehicles aren't that great, but at least we can still enjoy them overall with cruising around and stuff like that. So I'm going to do a little top speed run in a second to show you guys why. Mainly because having a lower top speed could definitely affect one of these cars in a negative way, only because a lot of the Summit races tend to be a little bit longer, and I notice racing them, if a car only does like 240 and you have other ones that do 255, that extra 15 miles an hour will make a really big difference when racing. And while depending on the track, having better handling over top speed obviously is going to be amazing, but normally I notice in the Summits, if we're doing like a US Speed Tour race and we can use a street car, having a lower top speed will definitely be a big issue, even if you could slipstream somebody. So jumping right into the top speed run on the Mazda RX-8, I'm sure many might have been wondering what this car can actually get to see if it's actually usable on Summits and stuff like that. And I also do want to know in the comments below, by the way, guys, what's your favorite Summit vehicle, or what car would you like to see in the Summit in the future, even if it was like a previous one or something like that. So jumping right into this, have to admit one thing, the acceleration on this car really isn't awful. It might be a little bit slower than some of the other vehicles, but it's really not too bad, and with Nitro Cam, it obviously flies right up to speed. So doing the full actual top speed run right now is going to be 241 miles an hour. Now, I'd say it's more like 238 to 240-ish in that, because you really got to push the car super hard to get it past that. But that will be the top speed right there, as I almost run into this train as well. And my goodness, that... I really don't know what that just was, but bro. Okay, anyway, moving on after whatever that just was there. I have to admit one thing, though. I really do feel like a lot of people are going to love this car, not only because of how this thing drives, but it just sounds amazing. And the car really is just a hoot to drive around. I really do enjoy this thing. So I really don't think the top speed will really differ too much on what people think about the vehicle. I actually use this thing in the past a good amount on Summits, like way before I was really using the Superleggera, and I was very impressed with how this car really did. So I definitely recommend giving it a shot. Now I'm going to give you guys like 20 seconds of just pure engine sound. So for the Mazda RX-8, I figured I would jump into a race that's more of a circuit because I really do feel like that's where this car is going to mostly shine because the top speed isn't the greatest. Funnily enough, I have been noticing something about that with these cars where the cars normally have lower top speed, but better handling and stability, and then higher top speed, less stability unless we look at the Superleggera. But even then, that car obviously can get a little weird sometimes depending on the speed. But I have to admit one thing, the Mazda really has been surprising me with how good this car actually is. It still is probably one of my favorite Summit cars, even though it was added a very long time ago as well. I still enjoy driving this thing around. It's just so much fun. It handles really well. The stability is amazing on it. This thing can go around turns with no issues at all. I will show my settings at the end of the video, which I highly recommend trying, by the way, on this thing, because it does make it really good. And I really do feel like this car could be used in Summits if you guys really wanted to. I mean, this thing just eats turns. Unfortunately, I do think on like longer races and all that, like let's say if a US Speed Tour race was active, I'm not sure if this car is going to be the best thing to use, mainly because I just don't think the overall top speed's that great. Even slipstreaming somebody, you're still going to do about 240, which is going to be an issue when you have like the Chevrolet 3100 that does like 255, which is kind of funny. But this car definitely does shine in other ways. I mean, it looks amazing, it handles great, and overall, I do think this car is definitely worth a look when you guys are looking to use something different. And if you did get this thing as a reward, I would try it out a little bit because I really do wonder what Ubisoft's going to do next with cars in the Summits and all that. And overall, what cars will we see coming up in the next season? Let me know your guys' thoughts, by the way, in the comments below. What would you like to see in the next update on the Crew 2? I think a lot of people are looking for new vehicles overall. I know the recent Motor Pass was a little annoying for some because, you know, there wasn't anything actually new in there. It was more the fact of just cars with like different body kits and all that, or like different, you know, changes to them and all that stuff. And then the stories were very cool in the recent update as well. I just hope Ubisoft will continue to add cool vehicles and all that, and then I'm sure every season we'll see at least one car returning from older, you know, Summits and all that. So this time we had the RX-8. I wonder if the Performante will show up, or one of the Bugattis will probably end up showing up as well, because everyone really does love those things. Anyway, thank you all so much for watching. I'm going to show you guys my settings on the RX-8 right now. Let me know again your thoughts on this car in the comments below.